What's happening, and welcome back to another episode of the Account for Your Life podcast. I'm Jay Mo, the healthy accountant, helping you to account for life. Let me ask you a really important question. What do you think the most important question every person on the planet should answer before they die? What is the most important question a person should answer before they die? This is one of these questions that I did not discover when I was 10. I did not discover when I was 15. I did not discover when I was 18, 21, 30, 35. I probably did not discover this question until I was into my 40s. Now imagine this, a person lives for 40 years. Do you know what 40 years represents? 40 years represents a generation. So if someone lived a whole generation and they did not answer this question, man, that's scary. But what if someone lived and died and never, ever answered this question? See, there's misinformation happening, and this misinformation is causing most people to never answer this question. And this misinformation is considered to be education. Now, I'm not just going to call out the educational system. I could, but I'm not just going to call out the educational system, because there's a lot of systems that educate. And so I would have to bring every system there is, and all of the systems do the same thing. They only care about what the system was designed to produce. That's all systems care about. Just like anything, like you only care about what it's supposed to produce. And so this particular question that most people never answer is not addressed in any system on the planet. So guys, today we're gonna unpack a question that I've probably talked about many times on this podcast, but you know what? Because we are looking to create more certainty in our life, then this particular question has to be answered so that we can create the certainty. So let's jump right in. So I was at the gym, I'm doing my thing. And well, actually yesterday I was on YouTube. I didn't go to the gym because it's crazy because my massage therapist told me I needed to take days off. She says, well, you know, you're too tight, like your muscles need a break. And I was just like, but I can't help it. So I didn't go to the gym yesterday. But when I was going to go to the gym, I noticed that there was one of my mentors. He had a YouTube video up, and I says, wow, I think he played it before, but man, it's perfect timing, because yesterday, if you go to the podcast, I actually mentioned First Chronicles 4, 9, and 10, and he actually did a whole sermon on that text, which is, you know, the prayer of Jabez. And so I'm listening to that today again for probably like the third or fourth time, and it hit me. It's like purpose, like every person should answer the question of purpose. What is the purpose of my life? What is this purpose? And in the prayer of Jabez, what's interesting about this text is that his purpose had been determined. His purpose was, see, back in those days, your purpose was determined based on the name that you got at birth. And Jabez, his mom says, you know, I call you Jabez because I bore you in pain. So Jabez meant pain. Imagine that. Imagine that. A person's name bore in pain. But then if we look at the story of Jacob, when what's Jacob's? Leah? I think Leah was the Jacob's wife, and Leah was having her son Benjamin, but she named him Benoni. Benoni, this is of my sorrow, because she died in childbirth. So you got two people in child or having a baby. One said, man, this is the pain that just was in my side. And then the other one said, man, this pain just killed me. Two names. Except for Benjamin, the name Benoni. Listen, when Jacob heard that she tried to name him Benoni, he says, no. This one's going to be named Benjamin. The power of my right hand is what that meant. What? So Jacob changed Benjamin's name from Benoni to Benjamin. But Jabez's name never got changed. So Benjamin did not have to worry about his purpose, because he knew he would have power at some point. He knew that he knew he was his father's right hand. He knew that, so he didn't have any, even though he lost his mom in childbirth, he didn't have to continue to think that he was the problem. Wherein Jabez was a different story. Jabez had the name, and that's all he was known by. So his purpose was to be pain. I mean, hey, it could have been pain with anytime he showed up. Oh man, pain is here, man. Things about to get ugly when pain comes to the party. But so let's think about this. Your name, how you come into this world, could potentially be the purpose of your life. But because most of us didn't get names, I didn't get a name when my parents was like, oh, I'm gonna name him Japheth because bam. No, I asked my parents, why did you name me Japheth? I don't know. I guess we were reading the Bible at the time, and it was cool. They were newly to their religion, and because they was new to the religion, they was doing a lot of studying, and all that studying got them. They probably read in there somewhere, that their first two children was Willie. He was a junior. Reginald, which was just a name. Now they're in the Bible. Like, oh, well, you know what? We're going to change this. They named me Japheth, Noah's son, enlarged territory, and they named my younger brother Joseph Benjamin. They gave him two powerful names, but still, they had no reason for doing it. It was just good biblical names. That's all they cared about. They just wanted a couple of their sons to have biblical names. So think about it. I'm walking around with this Japheth. Maybe you're walking around with a name that you don't even have any idea. A lot of times I'm talking to people for the first time, say, hey, what does your name mean? And they're like, oh, a lot of times people tell me they don't know. I have no idea. But that's interesting. So think about this. You live 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 years, whatever, however, how many years a person lives, and they don't know the meaning of the name. They don't know why they're here. So can we come into agreement that there's some misinformation happening in our educational process? So educational process. See, that's why I'm not calling out a system, because the system, there's all sorts of systems. There's a religious system, a health system. There is an educational system. There's all sorts of systems, political system, money system, all systems. But here's the thing. We're just going to focus in on success. What the one question a person has to answer, if they're going to determine and have certainty in their life, it is, what is my purpose? Why am I here? Why was I created? Man, living past 40 and not having an idea, actually, it never came up. It was never an idea of whether or not there was a purpose, because I recognized myself by the work that I did. I recognized myself by the degree that I had. I recognized myself by the certification that I possessed. I recognized myself by the fact that I was married, and I recognized myself by the fact that I was a basketball player. And I did this, and I just call myself all these things. These are me when in essence, those things just made up me. Those things were not me. See, when we come into the certainty of the reason for our existence, then it's getting educated for real. Getting educated for real, like stopping everything you do. It's interesting because, yesterday I was watching. I was on YouTube. I watched a video that I had watched already, but I may have watched it 3 times. And I started watching another video, but I went back to it. And Jenny comes downstairs. She says, oh, it looks like you're going back and forth. I didn't really respond to it. But I realized that in one video that I looked at, I got enough of it. It was like, I got like 20 minutes. I was like, oh, that's enough. And I went back to this other one, which was more about me discovering more about my existence and purpose. And, I'm at this stage in my life, in my progression, where I'm honing in on the doingness of purpose. See, because that's the thing. Like, I want to make sure that I'm personally maximizing my energy around my purpose so that I'm just not working, but I'm doing my work. See, because if I'm doing my work, then then it's going to be hard for me to get tired doing my work. But when you're not doing your work, then what happens is you keep running back and forth to this thing like, I don't really want to do this. And I'm really at the point where I'm just like, this is really getting on my nerves. There's things that I just don't want to do. And so you just say, okay, well, don't do them. And let's focus in on the purpose of our life and how that intersects with my profession, with my professionalism. Where is this intersection? How can I discover? How can you discover through educating yourself on you where your purpose is? Like how does your profession and your passion, how do they all come together? And I was looking at this and I'm looking at it last night. I'm like, I know what it is. And I'm passionate. What am I most passionate about? You want to know what I'm most passionate about? Personal growth. Personal growth. That's why, I wrote this book on personal leadership. And it's an individuality book, right? It's not a book on leading people. It's a book on leading you. And I'm just speaking from the perspective of me leading myself through to another side of life, to a next level of living. Personal growth. I'm like, but what am I proficient at? So then I'm looking at, well, you got accounting, you got tax strategy, you got money. I'm just like, man. So it's this intersection where you're just like, personal growth, business, money, personal growth, business, money, personal growth, money, personal growth, money. Like what do people need to know about money? What do they need to know about money? And as I looked at that, I says, wow, that's interesting. See, when you finally get educated on the thing that is you, you discover the thing that is you. Finally, it's like, finally I know. Finally I can. Finally I will. Finally there'll be no more stopping me. Finally. I've been in and out of this thing and that thing and this thing and that thing, but finally I'm there and it's certain, and I'm certain about it. There's an excerpt in the book, and it's towards the end of the certainty chapter, and it's the law of perception. The law of perception. What is perception? How do you see something? How do you see it? Like, how do you see your own life? How do you see your experiences? How do you see the tragedies that you've seen, or the problems that you face, the circumstances? How do you see things that, you thought didn't matter, but everything matters? Like how can you put together your life? Like literally piece together all the pieces of your life. I remember last year I did something. And here's what I did. I was coaching one of my mentees, and, just trying to work with her on kind of like some things she's working on. And I did this project. It really wasn't a part of what we were doing, but I did it. And it was where I just kind of looked at my whole life. Have you ever looked at your whole life? Like every experience, like everything, like, from where you grew up, to the amount of people in your family, what your parents do, thing you went to school for, let's see, all the experiences, the jobs, maybe you went, what kind of schools you went to, what degrees you have, certifications that you have, what kind of person, like, have you done personal development? Like, what books did you like? I think I wrote down a lot of stuff, all these things that I did, and I was looking at it, and something jumped off the page at the time. And so when I think about what jumped off the page, so I'll tell you what it was. It says born again. So it's kind of like, after all of this stuff, I was born again. I became somebody new. Like, you can look at your whole life and then become somebody new. Here's how you do that. It's how you see it. It's perception. And then the law of perception is literally It's just saying, you know what, this is how I'm going to look at everything that's happened in my life. This is what it means. This is what that is. See, because even if no one agrees with me, I can say it because you know what? If this is what I decide I would like to believe, then that's what it is. See, perception is so interesting because we all can perceive things differently. Like if I handed you the sheet of paper that I wrote all this stuff down and I said, well, tell me what you think about all that. Give me a phrase or give me your take on what that information is. You wouldn't have come up with the same thing I said. So that's what's important. What's important is no one can tell you what your purpose is. No one. Only God can tell you that. And how does God tell you that? There's a Proverbs. Proverbs 16:1. It says, the preparations of the heart in man, the answer of the tongue cometh from the Lord. What does that mean? Here's what it means. This is my perception of what it means. If you prepare, God will answer. So when you prepare, the preparations of the heart in man, the answer of the tongue cometh from the Lord. So when I'm preparing for the mission, for the purpose, for the doingness of whatever it is God said he would have me to do, he will answer by giving it to me. But I've got to prepare. See, without preparation, you can't get the answer. You know, man, as I sit here and think about the J Moore at 31, 32, 35, even 37 to 38, 39, the moment before, I'll say 39 and 3/4. I had no idea what was coming. So I want you to think about something. Have you lived long enough to realize there's something way bigger on the other side of your life? Have you lived long enough to even think that? Like you don't, like it could be 20 years. Like you could be 20 and on the other side of 20 is a new life. On the other side. Like, because if I'm not living my purpose, then I've been misinformed. If I don't know what it is, I've been misinformed. That means someone is keeping me from it. Someone. So at this point, you found this podcast, you know what it is, and what I'm telling you is that now the clock is ticking. The clock is ticking on your life. Discover what that is. Discover your purpose. The clock is ticking. See, the longer you sit and avoid it, the more it will hurt if you don't find it. Yeah, it will hurt. See, guys, this is about creating certainty in your life. You can have as much certainty as you want when you're at least on the road of purpose. And you can't create purpose. You can only discover it. Because when you got here, it was already with you. And how do I know? You came here a winner. You won the 500 million man race. Yes, you did. So look, yes, we've been misinformed. All the systems have misinformed us on what it is that we should be educated on. But you know what? Who cares at this point? Now we know what's important. My purpose is important. And look, if you are a person that says to yourself, man, I'd love to be able to discover my purpose and make a bunch of money. If that's you, just keep watching this podcast. We're going to be moving into a new phase, a new level of understanding. And people that want to discover their purpose and make money in the process. There's going to be teachings, trainings, strategies just for people like you, because I know that is exactly why I was created. I was created for that. So I'm super excited about the Account for Life podcast. I'm super excited about June of 2024 and beyond. I'm super excited about what's on the other side of your life. So buckle up. Let's go. Let's account for life. Guys, I appreciate you for joining me for this episode of the Account for Life podcast. I'm Jay Moore, the Healthy Accountant, helping you to account for your life. God bless, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.
This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the Healthy Accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.